Oh, oh, that's a good year. Oh, 2017. Oh, tickles the palate. I don't know. I bought it from 7-Eleven. What do you want from me? Guys, I'm in a good ass mood, dude. My song got copyright claimed 4 days ago. My song, the one I made. The one that I posted back in April. It got claimed. Ziggy. A guy posted a song that's basically your song 2 months ago and then claimed your song. And I was like, what? What? So I disputed it. I said, I'm sorry? Sorry, what? Also, I still have my project files from June 15th, 2018, so I would kindly appreciate it if you would get rid of it. And they did. I don't know, but I feel good about it. Lasso group, still working on that. I posted a video Monday going through the comments and what you guys voted on and announcing the show that I'm going to be watching. It's not titled it's not titled reaction and review, so it might have not have hit. It won't be in the recommended, right? And it's, yeah. So if you're not subscribed, or if you are subscribed, most likely it didn't pop up as like, hey, you got done watching a reaction, you should check out this video, because it's totally different thing. But I did announce that stuff, so if you're interested in that, that's on there. Yeah, so I was drinking earlier. Now I'm driving. I'm not driving. I don't know why I said that. I'm not driving. Okay. The Weeping Somnambulist, which is somnambulism is sleepwalking, I believe. The crying sleepwalker. Oh, people were saying little darters waving at Gunny in Squad. I forgot. I didn't remember that. My bad. Previously on the Expanse. Relief ship. En route. Dude, those suits are so cool. Suputaya porn. Melissa. Somnambulist relief ship. ID scan active. Is that our boys? Is that Holden?
Manifest and IDs, please.
Look.
It kind of sounds like him, kind of looks like him. Okay. Aren't you a little small to be a stormtrooper? I like this music though. Have you seen anything like bluish, growing, maybe? Yeah, that's Holden. That's Holden, straight up.
That's everything. You're James Holden.
Son of a bitch. All right, well.
This is
Just free fall it? They don't seem too concerned. Is this normal?
Follow two, and the defense minister wants you wearing this when you give your statement.
Makes it more credible. That's... I don't like this. This is making me nauseous. Don't just casually look at me when we're in free fall.
Did you see the ocean?
And the stench was like a recycling vat.
Yeah, he's not, you're not wrong.
It's just one more thing they've taken for granted.
What was the beach like? It was full of sand. It's rough and coarse. I don't like it. Oh, from how bright the sun is, yeah. That's true. It's like coming out of the Fallout vault. On second guess, can I get the glasses again? That's pretty cool that it's pretty cool that I like all this stuff. It's pretty cool that they spend time talking about what the effects of that would be. The distance, the heat, how bright it is. how their physiology isn't matched to it. I think that's cool because you can imagine, I mean, other shows where they're just planet hopping, like you just land on the planet. Oh, it's the jungle planet. Oh, it's the desert planet, and then it's whatever. But I like this.
Don't touch that.
No, don't touch that. What are you doing?
What are you doing?
Oh,
I'm just helping Miss Bride.
class unknown, transponder unknown, trajectory, stable orbit.
Well, voila.
Well, voila.
What we're doing is for the good of the belt and everyone else.
Ship is a grade A piece of shit. But she'll get us to Ganymede. We wouldn't bet on an erase though.
Intercom recording, send save, delete recording, video conversion in progress. Dude, I even like... Dude, this guy's so sick, man. I like his eyes, his right eyes, like, twitching up and down. It's just nice. It's just nice, as you can see the, like, the conflict. The more I think about the last episode with this guy in it, this guy, like, truly, the entirety of that episode rested on that guy. Hey, your new character... not to put you on the spot or anything, but you basically need to break down 2 to 4 times in the episode. And the episode doesn't work unless you sell it. And he nailed it. And he's still nailing it. Praxide que vuelva a Beltalora. We had to know that was happening. That's sad.
Hasn't been too much for you to bear.
Right, like that's okay. You know, they could have landed him, and not everybody knows what's going on here, right? It's a show of force. You assert dominance, you gain some leverage, make the other side look weak, right? It's pretty obvious.
At all.
So the issue at hand is de-escalation. Let's get right to it. We have a lot on our agenda.
Okay. Right to it, huh? Damage assessment UN and MCRN. Exchange of casualty lists. MCRN orbital routes and restrictions review. Agricultural impact on belt. UN OPSEC Berlin report current status of forces. Combatant statement by GSCT. Gunny Surgeon Draper RMMC. Other business adjournment.
Skeleton premature immunosensinosis. They're not quite sure what causes it. May developed a very serious spinal infection.
Myers spinal
She would have died if we'd been anywhere else, but Ganymede hasn't. Your plan's always this vague.
This is about average.
You almost be very
Being
lucky.
honest.
We certainly had our fair share.
Hey. We leave the Somnambulist after we land.
Our interests.
I like the cuts. I like the cuts to her during Gunny's speech. Happens 2 or 3 times. 1 when she brings up jamming. 2 when she says something about like we opened fire. We mistook an active training exercise and opened fire. It cuts to her again. Then it cuts to her again when they say Private Travis opened the first shot. So my interpretation of this is you're cutting to her to see her reaction to it, and you're kind of understanding that she knows that's not entirely true, and especially this lingering shot. She's watching Gunny walk away. She looks at Gunny's reaction to seeing Travis, and then she's just staring at Gunny as she walks away. She knows the game that's being played. Her and Aaron Wright both know the game that's being played with Mao, and how easily this third party kind of could have come in there. And I think she's picking up hints on that. To me, that's what all those camera cuts signify. The thing that I'm not sure of is if Mars is supposed to be stronger. And I think they brought that up. They have stronger ships, better stealth technology, better weapons, more militarized. They might not have as many people, but like they're more readily available to launch an attack. If Mars is stronger to whatever extent, if Mars is 51% and Earth is 49%, why is Mars the one that's conceding here? I have to imagine I have to imagine it has to do with Mao to some extent. I just don't believe that the top command of Mars is that altruistic to like disseminate that info all the way down and convince Gunny, hey, you got to take the flak for this, and your team opening fire on another team that was already firing and looking like it charged at you doing a training exercise somehow while your communications were calm, that somehow fed back up and everybody just started shooting each other. We're going to make it seem as if we fired the first shot and we messed up, and we'll pay reparations to you, which you have to imagine Mars is going to pay more than Earth, take responsibility for some stuff. It's like, I'm not sure why, if Mars presumably is in a position of power, as it seems like they are from what the Earth government is saying about them, why is it that they're the ones on the back foot of this? Like, what kind of communication has been happening to make them do that, as opposed to just, screw it, we don't care, or we know it was one of you that did it, right? Why did they have to come into the conversation with the full-blown story to get to peace as soon as possible if they believe themselves to be stronger? Is kind of what my question is.
You know what that's called?
Horse trading.
That's diplomacy. They got rings. Hollow sights in the future. Don't mess with perfection.
Never hurts to ask.
So we're done.
One last thing.
Oh my God.
I'd like to speak to Sergeant.
Okay, so a couple things with the framing, because it's reminding me of conferences and stuff that I've been to. Anybody that's been in a conference knows this is exactly how it is. You got your food on the table. You can't really leave. Everybody's tired. Everybody's clothes are like a little off. People's posture's down. You're just done. You just want to be done with it all. This is 100% accurate.
Speak to Sergeant Draper again.
But I love
I have a few questions.
the blonde chick on the left. I love her reaction to it. Special Envoy M. Cruz, whatever. I love the way she reacts to, oh, Chrisjen wants to talk to Draper by herself.
Madam.
Because to me, it appears as if the other two people might not be aware or might not know, or just they're better able at hiding it. How Gunny gave the speech she did, or why she gave the speech she did. But these reactions by the, well, I guess she's a redheaded lady. These reactions by this lady make me think she does, and she knows this is probably not a great idea. But obviously you can't say anything, right? Oh, Draper's busy, she's on her way to Mars. You're gonna deny her request to do that. Like, that's a lose-lose situation. That's a lose-lose situation. It puts you in a bad spot if you say, well, we can't release Gunny to you even though we're in peace and we're the ones that are accepting more responsibility towards it than you. I just like the way she's reacting to it. I think it adds some depth to that character.
I want to speak with Sergeant Draper. Now.
Okay.
Sergeant Draper.
So it seems like everybody is on the take. Nobody really wants her to speak to Sergeant Draper. Sadavir probably knows if they talk to her, that story might unravel a little bit, but it also doesn't hurt him if it does. In fact, it only helps Earth's position if Mars came into this sort of lying, presumably, right? Because then he can get more out of it. Then they'll look even better. They found the truth. Now Mars needs to take more responsibility to win back their favor or whatever. It's a win-win for the right side of the table. And it's kind of a lose-lose for the left side of the table.
Draper. He wanted to retire to Mars, but he died. Did you know that the majority of people in Earth don't have jobs?
Even this, I think, is really well done. Something as very minor as this. Aaron Wright is looking at their reactions to it, and I think he knows where Chrisjen is going with this. Saying some easy things to get her to agree to it. I was actually surprised the very first question she asked the very first question she asked was, if you could choose to still serve, would you? Because that has a lot of layers of context. If she believes Travis became a scapegoat and her story isn't 100% real, she might be doubting her allegiance to Mars. To me, that came across like, wow, that's a kind of abrasive first question to throw out. I thought she would start with some of this stuff and then build up to that. Getting her to agree with some things that she's saying, getting her to see Earth under a different light, that they're really just people, is going to set Chrisjen up to like probe her harder and harder. And I think Aaron Wright knows where this is going. And it's interesting looking at the other side of the table. Piñano seemingly doesn't understand what's happening here. Like, this is a waste of time.
It's just that we can't
But
give them enough.
this guy, I think, knows exactly what's happening on here. Even something as like minor to that, in my opinion, there is still subtext and character given to them. They didn't, in my opinion, they didn't let the actors just go on there. Okay, we need you to just read these lines and here's your character or whatever. It seems like they gave them a lot of background and detail into what's happening and what their characters would know and where they're coming from in order to get these type of disparate reactions out of them. That's the way I'm interpreting it, and I think that's nice. Just because everything else has had that same level of quality, so I have to imagine this is intentional too.
I didn't even know what it was. Nobody did. He wasn't wearing a vac suit.
Sergeant Draper has been through a severe traumatic event.
Okay, a couple things there. One, obviously Chrisjen could tell she was cracking, so you just keep asking questions to not. It's like, it's something you do when you're a lawyer. You can keep throwing stuff out there and not really let them establish themselves and kind of retort and take questions one at a time. You like just throw so much information out there. But now I'm beginning to think this dude, I guess I didn't pick up on it before, or I just didn't think of the relationship before. But this is the second time she said he wasn't wearing a vac suit, and then immediately this dude comes out and it's like, okay, that's it. So I have to imagine this guy is somehow more knowledgeable than he's letting on in regards to what that thing was. And he just doesn't want it to get brought up. He doesn't want anybody to know about it. He doesn't want Gunny to think about it. He doesn't want Gunny to like dwell on it and expand upon it and sort of describe it, whatever. This is the second time that's happened, specifically after she said wasn't wearing a vac suit. The blue guy wasn't wearing a vac suit, whatever. I just don't know I don't know how, but that's what I think.
Needs to rest.
Whoever the fuck you are, stand
Woo!
down and let her speak. Unless there is something you don't want her to say.
Yeah? Yes, queen. And I also like how, again, it kind of goes back to Chrisjen staying on Earth while everybody else fled, and how that reflects on her character is really fighting for Earth and fighting for the truth and fighting for people, and not really being concerned about the like Mao and them gaining power and them owning Aaron Wright or having a favor on Aaron Wright, or, you know, whatever that relationship was where Aaron Wright was kind of in bed with them and now they're maybe combative a little bit. Not entirely sure how that reflected on her wanting to find the truth and sort of being like, she's playing the game, but she really has best interests at heart. And how even now, I think that's still brought up, she's willing to nuke all the peace talks in order to get the truth out of Draper. Whereas Aaron Wright, hey, you know, don't look a gift horse in the mouth, right? I mean, this guy seems like a perfect scapegoat. What are you going to do? We got him to own up to it. We're getting more reparations out of it. We look like the victors here. We keep moving on. It's fine. But she's willing to kind of blow up all this just to get to the truth. And I think even that like reflects on her character from last season and then before that, when she's kind of first introduced and the way she's talking to her husband about the kids. And then, you know, obviously the long pause and then she knows she lied, but she can't really push that anymore. That's really well done. Especially how she says, you're on a crusade. I'm going to help the people that live in it. For a number of different reasons. One, it reflects on his character, right? In the most obvious, like the basic sense, he is on a crusade. She portrays that she's been there before. She's seen that type of behavior before. And how it doesn't work. Because if it did work, it would have changed things, right? They wouldn't be on the ship getting, bullied every time they docked at a different station. They wouldn't be having a lot of their 10% of their supplies, whatever, being taken. It wouldn't just be them two trying to make a living and move supplies around. Things would have changed for the better if these crusades actually worked. So that properly gives some context to the world and also her and Holden, because it also reflects back on him and his character and how he's changed. Furthermore, this part with him and Amos just coming in and wasting dudes, like, further shows how much he's changed and evolved. He's not trying to talk to them. He's not trying to barter with them or get them a better deal or whatever it is. They just come in and start shooting. But then, just like what she had said earlier, you can go on your crusade. I'm going to just try to help the people that get left behind, is exactly what happens here. He thinks he's doing the right thing. Back to the Don Quixote thing. He thinks he's doing the right thing. Of course, I need to go help these people. Of course, I have to step in and introduce myself. But he doesn't know truly who he's going to be going up against, what they're capable of, what they've done. It's just, no, this is the right thing to do. I got to go in and stop it. Amos, you're with me. Let's go deal with this. Without really thinking through the repercussions or the consequences of it. If he didn't get involved, they would have lost all their cargo and had to, leave the station. But they both would have been alive. And it doesn't look like it's her first rodeo of this type of thing happening, nor his. But he wanted to do the right thing without properly understanding the consequences of that, what the potential consequences of that could have been. And, this is a result. And this like extrapolates to basically almost every decision that he's made from way back when on the can't. I'm going to do the right thing and respond to this SOS. He has no idea of actually knowing what's going to happen. But the very first thing we see him do, not the very first thing, but one of the very first things we see him do, it just keeps building and building and building and building and building. And I like the way that they sort of reintroduced that and recontextualized it in just literally like one line from her and then a short scene here. And it's kind of interesting. It's kind of.
Whatever it takes to make you leave.
It's kind of interesting too the way he responds to it.
You owe me the cup.
In that there's lots of the scene. In that he no longer. He's not acting the way Naomi would act. He's not acting the way Naomi acts. Sorry, is what I'm trying to say. Naomi, the cockpit's wrecked. Find us another ship. And Naomi's like, okay, but are we like not going to help this person? And that's interesting to think about too. His character has sort of become numb to this stuff, just coming in here and wasting these people, and then also, hey, they were gonna kill both of you guys. We did the right thing. This was still the right thing to do, to come in and try to help you guys by force, even though that guy died. Like, you should still kind of thank me, because they would have stolen everything, maybe killed both of you out in space. And him just saying this line, hey, Naomi, the cockpit's right, as opposed to like, how he normally, or he before then was in Naomi's spot of literally trying to help every single person, wanting to do the right thing by every single person, wanting to take care of every single person. And here it's like he's kind of conflicted or almost kind of angry in a way of like, how can you be mad at me that I helped you? You know, Naomi and then Prax seem more disturbed by this than Holden does, which I think is pretty interesting, taken in context of his character and stuff, right? Like, to me, that face looks a little sad, right? Obviously, there's regret there, but it also looks like a little kind of frustrated to me, like the eyebrows being down. Like, if this face looks like a little sad and regretful, and like he's looking back on it, damn, but also like, why are you so mad at me type of thing, which is not how he used to sort of be. Bro, look.
Clarify.
Madam.
Like, do we even need to talk about how good this episode was? Do we even need to talk about how many layers and how good this episode was?
Wherever I goddamn like.
That's what I'm gonna say when you people are like, oh my god, Ziggy, shut up about the freaking jammers. I'm gonna go wherever I got them like. I loved the layers there, and I believe there's a lot of layers to the scene because the level of writing up to this point has been such that it seems as if it's all intentional, right? Again, to what I was saying earlier. I don't feel like I'm just making up stuff. I don't feel like I'm being an English teacher of, why do you think the author said the grass was green? Do you think he's signifying like the rebirth of humanity through the green color of life and signifying that? Like, no, sometimes it's just green. But I don't think I'm like reaching too far here. I think the reactions from each of the different people at this table is intentional. I think the camera cuts, obviously, are very intentional. I always think the camera cuts are intentional. I think the lines of dialogue and the way Aaron Wright and the way Avasarala respond to information and what they're looking for out of this is obviously intentional. And then I think there's just so many layers to that final scene with Holden and the ship crew that even goes back to Naomi saying, yeah, but we're talking about you. You don't murder people. You don't do that. You're supposed to be the person that we all look up to. And it was actually there was a comment, and somebody made a comment about how the first time I watched the show, I only cared about the Rocinante crew, and it took me a couple other rewatches before I really started to care about the other people in the show and to really like appreciate the suffering and the trials and tribulations that everybody else is subjected to, instead of just focusing on the Rocinante, which you can kind of understand and make sense. The first time watching the show, like, okay, the Rocinante are the main characters, everybody else is like a side character or whatever. But that got me thinking about the characters that I liked and the ones that I grew attached to. Obviously, my wife, like, and this is just as amazing. But Holden, I didn't really like as much because I viewed him as like he's the Superman and Miller is Batman. He's like the White Knight and Miller's the Dark Knight. But and I was like, well, you know, Holden's kind of changing. He's getting a little more like gray to him, but he's still a little too like nice. And I like characters with more dirt on them. He's kind of changing, but he's still not there yet. But this episode really does move him more towards it, where he's like got one foot in both sides. Yeah, I was like literally before I pressed play, I'm like, my wife is number one. Drummer Fred Johnson are probably second for me. Those are the when I'm watching the show right now, these are the characters that I like, and I like them because they have interesting backstories and they're very intriguing and they're all like really rough and dark. That scene where the Belter has the gun and he's sort of trying to get Fred Johnson to give out the missile codes, and Fred's like, dude, hate to burst your bubble, but that's not the first dude that's died for me. It's not gonna be the last. Like, you can waste everybody in this room, I'm still not giving it to you. That was sick. Drummer was obviously sick. And when I looked back on Holden, I was thinking, man, you know, it feels like you should like Holden because he's the main character or one of the main characters, but he's still too like white for me, idealistic, and like I liked Miller more than Holden, right? If that comparison makes sense. But this is like right in your face. This is not, if you watch season 1 episode 1, these are two different people. Yeah, which makes me like him a little more. All right, this one's done. I want to check out that new series. I'm still not gonna say the name in case you haven't watched that video yet, but I want to check out the new series and then get back to this. Dude, whatever I goddamn feel like.